The ultimate piano, the Baldwin SD-10. Now that's quite a bold statement coming from me. I'm Robert Esther and this is livingpianos.com. I have quite a history with Baldwin SD-10 concert grands. As a matter of fact, my father, Morton Estrin, was a Baldwin artist, and most of his recordings and his New York recitals were on Baldwin SD-10s like this piano, one of the last of the great American Baldwins from 1996. Going to play you three selections, and wait till you hear the sound, and I'll explain what I mean by the ultimate piano in just a minute. Let's start out with some Bach. Here's a movement from his E minor toccata. You know, Baldwin was the largest selling American piano company in the second half of the 20th century. And yet, Steinway always had a little bit more of the concert market. You go to concerts at Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, and on stage was either a Baldwin or a Steinway. And Baldwin was the underdog because most artists were Steinway, but a good chunk of them were Baldwin artists. So what Baldwin did, it was at a time when Baldwin owned Bechstein, and they redesigned their concert grand to come out with the SD-10 with some enhancements like AccuJust hitch pins, which you can read about in the description. It optimizes the down bearing so the soundboard is free to vibrate at the perfect amount of tension. And there are many other things. They put a Renner action, a German action, regarded as one of the finest actions of the world, found in Hamburg Steinway. Even New York Steinways didn't have Renner actions. So anyway, listen to the tone, because this is what really sets this instrument apart. You have that American fatness and warmth, but a clarity that you don't experience on a great Steinway or a Mason and Hamlin. So listen to a little bit of, I'm going to start from the middle of the Pathétique Sonata second movement. There's a combination of clarity and warmth that I talked about. The bass on this instrument is not to be believed, and the treble sings all the way into the top octave. I'm just going to demonstrate for you. Listen to these single notes in the bass. It really is an incredible scale design and a great piano. And the SD-10s are also noted for recording really, really well because of the clarity and warmth. I'm going to play a little bit of the intersection of Chopin's B-flat minor scherzo. So, is it the ultimate piano? Well, there are a lot of great pianos in the world, but a great SD-10 is as fine as any piano I've ever played. A glorious Baldwin SD-6 concert grand. Better than that, we just rebuilt this piano and it plays like a dream, and it's no wonder that so many great concert pianists played Baldwin pianos in the heyday. You're going to hear 3 selections today to hear what this piano is capable of, starting with a beautiful lyrical movement of Bach's Fifth French Suite. The piano's been brought back to its original glory, perhaps even better with German hammers, the oboe hammers. The action's been rebuilt, new pin block, new strings, the Mapes strings that Baldwin originally used on the piano. The finish, it's just like new. It's just a pleasure to play. So let's hear some Beethoven now. I'm going to play, the last movement of the Pathétique Sonata is our rondo. Rondos have a lot of repetitions. It's actually an A, B, A, C, A, B, A form. Well, I'm going to leave out some of those repetitions, but you get a flavor for this wonderful piece. Great Baldwins have a clear yet warm, rich, fat sound. It's kind of like the best of all possible worlds. I sometimes describe it as the blend between the great European pianos like Bechstein and Steinway, because it's kind of in the middle. It's got the clarity, but it's also got the fatness and the warmth, doesn't it? So let's end now with some Chopin. I'm going to play a little part of the intersection of his A-flat ballade, Chopin's third ballade. What a pleasure to play this instrument. We just got it dialed in this evening. This is the first time I'm really sitting down and enjoying it because it takes all that fine work. I heard all the potential, but I wanted all the notes to be even with this nice, beautiful voicing. And what a bass on this piano. Isn't it a pleasure? One of my favorite pianos, the Baldwin Model L Artist Grand Piano. Truth be known, I've had so many pianos as my personal piano. I've got a video for that in the description, and I've had more Baldwin L's in my life than any other model piano, and there's a good reason for that. It's one of the great American scale designs in a grand piano that'll fit in most homes, yet provide a really rich sound and satisfying playing experience. Better than that, this is a 1971 after the Baldwin Bechstein redesign. This piano has barely been played. You know, it doesn't look its age at all. And wait till you hear the sound. I've got 3 selections from 3 different period styles. We're going to start off with some Beethoven. Stay to the end for a little bit of Chopin. But right now is the Opus 14 number 2, the exposition of the first movement of this G major sonata. I feel like I'm playing a new piano. It's unbelievable. Of course, we put a tremendous amount of refinement of the action with regulation, fine voicing, and cleanup, and the piano looks and plays so nicely. Let's hear what it's like with something really subtle. This is the Sarabande movement of Bach's Fifth French Suite in G major. Do you hear the fine control that's possible? The pianissimo in that section just before the end. That's a sign of a great piano, one that has a wide, expressive range. Speaking of which, I promised you a little bit of Chopin, just a little taste of an intersection of the Chopin G minor ballade. You know, the great Baldwin Artist Series Grands have the unique quality of a clarity and a warmth. Usually these butt heads. You sacrifice one for the other, but not with these great Baldwins. What a magnificent Baldwin piano back in the day when Baldwin was making some of the greatest American pianos of all time. This instrument was originally manufactured in 1964, and we just rebuilt it. And it looks spectacular, and the sound is amazing. This is why these pianos were so popular, and so many concert pianists chose Baldwin as their specific pianos for concerts and recordings. I'm going to play 3 selections for you, and then tell you all about the work we did to bring this piano back to its original glory. Let's start with the opening movement to Bach's Toccata in E minor. You hear the richness of the tone. There's a warmth and a fatness to this piano that is really extraordinary. So it's got new strings, the soundboard has been refinished, new pins, new damper felts, the finish has been refreshed, and it looks gorgeous, this walnut. I want to play now another subtle piece of music that you all know. This is just the beginning section of the second movement of the famous Beethoven Pathetique Sonata. Do you hear that fine control of the pianissimo? The regulation is just so nice. And I must close now. What piano demo would be complete without some Chopin? And this is actually the beginning of his B-flat minor scherzo. Listen how the piano opens up. Never a harsh moment out of this Baldwin 5'8" Model R grand piano. This is an instrument I could use as my daily practice piano and get all the rewards I need and to be prepared to play any fine concert grand. It's that good of a piano. What makes it so special? The range of tone from the most delicate to the ferocious, and always rewarding with that warm, round, fat sound. And what a beautiful piece of furniture. Anyway, this is Robert Estrin. You're watching livingpianos.com, your online piano store. This piano could be in your home. And a vintage Baldwin from the golden era, the early 20th century. This piano at some point was rebuilt, refinished, new hammers, shanks, knuckles, new pin blocks, strings, and the piano plays and looks beautiful. And I want you to hear the warm tone you get out of these vintage American pianos when they're in good shape. We're going to start off for you just for the beginning of Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata. Nice, even action. Our technicians went through it and really dialed it in with really fine concert-level regulation, voicing. Listen to the piano, how it opens up with some Chopin. This is actually just a middle section of his military polonaise. really separates the great American pianos from so many fine Asian production pianos is their range of tone. Notice the energy I put into the piano and never any harshness or that brittle metallic edge you get out of so many pianos today. Anyway, I'm going to close now with something more subtle that shows the expressiveness of this instrument. This is the first movement of Schumann's Kinderscenen, Scenes from Childhood, from Strange Lands and People is the rough translation of this beautiful first movement. A nice sized piano, when you get under 5 feet, you don't get the nice bass and you lose a lot in the tenor range. This is big enough to get a nice rewarding sound, and yet it can fit in almost anybody's home. You're listening to a Bechstein grand piano between a grand piano, a semi-concert grand. And this piano is a piece of music history, originally manufactured in 1884 in Germany and restored in Europe by the grandson of the Steinway Hamburg Restoration Factory. And this piano plays like a dream. It looks like it did when it came out of the factory originally. The best news, it's got the original soundboard. Wait till you hear the tone of this piano. I'll tell you more about it, the Renner and Abel action and all the rest of it, but let's have some music. This is the beginning of Mozart's Sonata in C minor. He wrote very few works in the minor. Listen to the fire of the beginning of the first movement of this sonata. Such a beautiful fluid action. And the piano's been upgraded with a true sostenuto pedal, which it didn't have at the time. Full 88 keys, beautiful action, gorgeous piece of furniture. Let's hear how it sounds, though, with some lyrical music. This is the beginning of Chopin's Fourth Ballade in F minor, with such a haunting theme. You know, when a piano has been rebuilt with all the right specifications and the regulation and voicing is top-notch, you can get that fine tonal control like you just heard in that Chopin ballade. And we're going to end now with just a little bit of fireworks, the beginning of Children's Corner Suite of Debussy, Dr. Gratis at Parnassum. Did you hear all those colors this piano is able to produce? It's really remarkable, the craftsmanship of the original manufacturing and the mastery of the restoration. It's really a sight to behold and to capture the sound of this piano. And under your fingertips is such an experience you must enjoy. This is an extraordinary instrument manufactured in 1894. We have rebuilt this piano to its former glory. Amazingly, the original soundboard has such a vibrant sound. I'll tell you all the new parts that are on the piano, but let's have some music. Here's just a slow movement from Bach's E minor toccata. All right, so the restoration was painstaking. We put a new pin block in the piano, new strings, tuning pins, damper felts, hammers, the repetitions, the whip-ins are new, the whole pedal lyre assembly is redone, the piano is regulated, and then the action weight is exactly what you want, not too heavy. Listen to the control you can get on a slow movement of Beethoven. Here's the famous Pathetique Sonata. So finely regulated. And listen to that tonal color with the una corda, the soft pedal. Isn't that wonderful? And the piano, of course, has been refinished with the same kind of satin black lacquer finish, sprayed lacquer, hand rub for a real lustrous look. Classic design. And I'm going to end with something that shows a little bit of the other side with a little bit more volume. Just the beginning of Chopin's second scherzo, the one in B flat minor. What a sustained tone. It's really remarkable to encounter an instrument that has been sheltered from the elements from centuries previously. And when you do the work restoration, you get such a rewarding sound and a gorgeous piano. You're going to hear this piano. I'm going to put it through its paces. Restored, I'll tell you all about it, but let's start with some music. This is actually the delightful sonatina, the first movement of Kulau's Opus 55, number 1, in C major. The feel of these ivory keys, and what a rich sound. Bechstein goes back to the 1800s, and it's still regarded as one of the finest piano builders in the world. At 5.5 feet, this piano has a rich sound, but it can fit almost anywhere. And look at this classical styling from 1928, and it fits in with modern decor just magnificently. Now, we just refinished the piano. The soundboard has been refinished, new strings, damper felts, the works, tuning pins, and it plays so nicely. I'm going to let's have some lyrical music, the intersection of Chopin's Scherzo No. 1 in B minor. And that's where it goes back to the ferocious first theme. Listen to the delicacy that's possible, the nuance of expression, and that warm, rich sound. I bet you're wondering what it sounds like to really open up. I'm just going to play the beginning of Schumann's Carnival. By the way, has a nice delicacy to it. It's not a hard piano to play. You can get a beautiful, rich sound and gorgeous furniture and a piece of music history. They literally don't make them like this anymore, except in Germany, in very small numbers. A Boston piano designed by Steinway, produced by Kawai in Japan. This piano is from 2002 and it is in immaculate condition. Very moderate play, so well cared for. Our technicians just had to do fine regulation, voicing, just a very tiny amount of hammery shaping, and you have a piano almost like new. I've got 3 selections for you, and then I'll tell you more about the Boston piano. Let's start with Bach, the Allemand movement, the first movement from his 5th French suite. Boston piano has got the hardwood inner rim, really high quality spruce soundboard, and an all wood action. Let's listen to some more music for you. Here is the second movement of Mozart's Sonata in C major, K330, and it's got a really haunting second section in F minor. I dared to play those pianissimos that quietly because I knew this piano could handle it with the regulation being so fine and the action being in practically new condition. So, of course, I'm sure you're dying to hear what it sounds like when this piano really opens up to fortissimo level. So let's just have a little brief excerpt from part of the Chopin Ballade in G minor. If you're looking for a grand piano that's got decades of good life in it, designed by Steinway, classic look, high quality action, this is a really good choice for you to consider. How many of you have heard of Ibach, the venerable German company? And this piano is from 1911, the original ivory keys, the original glorious soundboard. The woods available in Germany at that time were just spectacular, as you'll hear in this beautifully restored piano, rebuilt with new pin block strings, damper felts. The action has been redone as well. The piano looks and plays like it did when it was made. Such an extraordinary instrument. I've got 3 different styles for you, starting with just the very opening of Bach's Toccata in E minor, just to get a little bit of a flavor. Then I'll tell you more about the piano. Such a beautiful opening to a great work. I have a complete performance of it you can check out in the description. So, what piano demo would be complete without some Chopin? I'm just going to play the opening section to his heroic B-flat minor scherzo. Listen to this and the beautiful melody and how the piano, you can't get a harsh sound out of this piano, and yet the subtlety of expressions you'll hear later in some Mozart. So stay for that. What do you think of that sound? I find it to be really rich and warm, and I'm enjoying playing it. And you know what the real mark of a great piano is? The sustain of tone. Listen to this gorgeous slow movement for Mozart's Sonata in C major, not the famous one. That's the 545 Kurschel. This is the K330. The first movement starts like this. But I'm going to play the gorgeous second movement. I'm going to play the whole movement except without repeats. And you'll hear so many different tonal colors. And I'm going to see how far I can stretch the pianissimos in this. Because, you know, when a piano is really regulated well and you've got a good action, the control is really remarkable. I'm going to put it through its paces and see how it performs for you. So now, I took extreme measures to see how far I could take the tones of this piano. And you notice every single note played, no matter how extraordinarily quietly I played. Isn't that a pleasure? And on the other flip side, when I played that scherzo, I didn't hold back. You know, sitting right here in this room are 6 concert grands, that's right. Steinway, Baldwin, Chickering, all sorts of 9-foot pianos. And I was playing this piano no differently from how I would let loose on a full concert grand. And what did you think of that sound? The Mason and Hamlin Model A, one of my favorite pianos, and the choice of many people because the sound you get out of a 5-foot 8-inch grand piano can top many full grand pianos at over 6 feet. There's many reasons for this I'm going to tell you about, but let's start off with some music. This is a beautifully restored Mason and Hamlin Model A. So let's start with some Bach. The action is so nice. This is the Allemande movement, the beginning of his 5th French suite in G major. And the nice feel of the pearly white, real ivory keys, a testament to the gentle life this piano has had, with its original soundboard, which we've reworked and refinished, and the new pin block strings, the works. The piano plays so beautifully. What is it about Mason and Hamlin Model A's that make them sound so much bigger? Well, there's a few things. Of course, their robust design with thicker inner and outer rims, and the tension resonator system, which you can read about in the description, that only Mason and Hamlin pianos have, which makes these pianos last the generations that other pianos don't have a chance. And also, you've got the wide tail, which allows for more soundboard area, so it gets the sound of a larger grand. Listen a little bit now with some Beethoven. Opus 10, number 1, the beginning of the exposition of the first movement. rich tone. What a pleasure it is to play this piano. I'm going to end now with something lyrical. This is the beginning, or actually a shortened version of his E minor nocturne. Such a haunting melody. This nocturne wasn't published until after Chopin's death. I wish you could feel the smooth ease this action gives to you as a player. And you know, there's so many things that are involved in rebuilding a piano, and there's things that you can see and there's things that you can't see. For example, the A graphs on a piano, that's the place in the front where the strings go through these little holes. You know, you could just polish up the old A graphs and they look exactly the same. But by replacing them like we did on this piano, you get clean string termination. It enhances the tone because you have a nice smooth surface where the strings terminate. The Model A at 5'8" has such a big, rich sound, which I've talked about before. The wide tail allows for a larger soundboard area, so you get the sound of a full grand piano, yet it can tuck into a corner of your home. This piano is from 1919, a stellar period in Mason Hamlin's illustrious history, still producing pianos outside of Boston in the United States. And this piano's got the original ivory keys, feels so nice. And you think about all those decades and they're still intact. The hammers have been replaced and the strings, it's been refinished. It looks beautiful. Wait till you hear the sound. Let's start off with just a little short gavotte of Bach from his Fifth French Suite. A glorious sound, isn't it? It's very warm, rich, and fat, the trademark of great Mason Hamlin pianos. So now let's have something very different for you, just a little bit of a Chopin nocturne, the B-flat minor nocturne for you. Just the first section. A fine regulation of the action enables that tonal control. It's a substantial feel that you can really dig into and get the sound you want. And notice the release, the damper regulation. We spent a lot of time refining this piano. Did you know that even brand new pianos require extensive adjustments in order to get this kind of performance? Last, I'm going to play a Heller etude in D major, one I love to teach. It's an exciting little piece. Quite a sound, isn't it? You know, I feel like I'm playing a concert grand. The sound that comes out, it doesn't feel like a small piano. If you're looking for something that gives you that concert sound, that big, fat sound, on a piano that looks beautiful and plays well with those nice ivory keys, Mason and Hamlin's one of the great American piano companies of all time, still producing pianos in the United States. Only 2 companies left. You got to treasure them, don't we? What an extraordinary piano. And you know, the Model A, like all Mason and Hamlin's, have a bigger sound than the size would reveal. Listen to some music first, and I'll tell you all about this piano. It's been meticulously rebuilt, restored, refinished. I'm going to play some Mozart for you. The first movement, the exposition of the first movement of the K283, the G major sonata, a delightful work. A delightful feel, a little bit on the lighter side, and these ivory keys are just a joy. And the condition of these for a piano from this period is just remarkable, isn't it? We rebuilt this piano with a new pin block, new strings, new damper felt. The case has been refinished. The plate has been regilded. The pedal lyre has been rebushed. The piano plays like a dream. Listen to some more music. I'm going to play just a little excerpt of Chopin's Scherzo in B-flat minor, the middle section, which starts out gently and then gets heroic and goes down low. And listen to the bass. You never believe you're just listening to a 5/8 grand piano. There are many reasons why Mason and Hamlin's could have this kind of a sound for this size piano. One of them is the wide tail, which allows for a larger soundboard area than you get on other pianos of the same length. Just like bigger speakers have a richer, bigger, fuller bass, so it is with a bigger soundboard. I'm going to end now to show the poetry of this piano and the beautiful melodic sustain in the treble on this just gem of a movement from the Children's Corner Suite of Debussy, The Little Shepherd. You know, people who are really around pianos a lot, this is one of their favorite scale designs of any piano of any size. It's very richly rewarding. It's the kind of piano you can put in almost any room and get a beautiful sound. Sometimes to get this kind of rich sound, you need a much larger piano, which can blow you out of your home. Model AA at a little over 6 feet. What a sound this piano has. Tell me if this isn't the warmest, richest sound you've heard out of a piano of this size. Completely rebuilt from the golden era, 1917, before it was bought out by Aeolian. Beautiful. I'll tell you about the restoration work, but let's start off with a Bach fugue. This is from his E minor toccata. It's a pretty rousing piece of music. That's the final movement to that wonderful toccata in E minor of Bach. The action is as smooth as silk. In fact, it's been completely refreshed. New Abel hammers, those are German hammers. That's partially the warmth that you hear in the sound is those Abel German hammers. And the piano has got new strings, new pin block, new A graphs. Now, what's that? On the far side of the strings, they go through, actually on the near side of the strings, they go through these little loops. And you can use the original A graphs, there's nothing wrong with them, but to get clean termination, you see, from tuning a piano, you get little ridges in the metal, and you don't get a clean end of where the string touches metal. And so to get that purity of sound that you hear, those new E graphs really help. So let's hear now some Beethoven. This is the first movement of his famous Opus 49, number 2 sonata in G major. I dare say it's impossible to get a harsh sound out of this piano, and yet it has a huge dynamic range, as you'll hear next with something on the quieter end of the spectrum, the Nocturne in E minor. I'm going to play a shortened version of it so you can hear the beauty of the singing tone. You know, the piano's also been refinished with an absolutely exquisite finish, just like you'd find on a brand new Mason and Hamlin. The plate's been regilded, all the metal parts replated. It looks and plays like it did when it was made. Mason and Hamlin is unique in this respect because of the wider tail and other technologies. Before I tell you about this beautiful art case from 1982, almost like new, sat in a home as a furniture piece, let's have some music, starting with the first section of the first movement of a Haydn Sonata in F major. Honestly, it feels like playing a new piano, and such beautiful woodwork. The rich tone, listen to the sustain in a beautiful lyrical movement, the second movement of Mozart's Sonata K330 in C major. It's got a haunting inner theme in the minor key, and listen to the change of tonal color. Then we'll have some Chopin for you at the end, so don't miss that. Do you hear the nuance that's possible on this instrument? So finely regulated, the work we have done on it, because it's essentially like a new piano in so many respects that you can get this kind of performance. Well, now let's open it up with something a little bit more flamboyant. This is a mazurka of Chopin in B-flat major. I'm having a blast playing this piano. A nice, small baby grand with a big sound, gorgeous furniture. Made in the USA, Mason and Hamlin has the distinction of being only one of 2 piano companies still being produced in the United States. Not all of them are produced here, so you got to be careful. This Model B is still manufactured outside of Boston. A beautiful Mason and Hamlin BB. The Double B is one of the great American 7-foot pianos of all time. We recently had 2 of them. They sold just like that. We're so fortunate to have another one for you. I'm going to play some music for you and tell you about this 1974 Mason and Hamlin Double B in such great condition, and you'll hear the tone, very warm sound. Let's start off with a little bit of Bach. This is the beginning of his E minor toccata. Just going to play the introductory movement for you. Such a smooth action. It's a pleasure when you get pianos like this that have had such moderate play that it's just a matter of prepping the pianos with fine voicing, regulation, tuning, cleanup, and you have this spectacular piano. So I'm going to play a couple of other selections for you so you can hear the piano, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what makes the Mason and Hamlin BB so special. In fact, it was my personal piano for a long time until I moved to a smaller space. But this is the piano that can fit in most living rooms and can grace smaller concert venues and recording studios. So let's have a little bit of, what have we got for you? A little bit of Chopin. I'm going to play for you just the a little bit of a middle theme of the A-flat Ballade. Such a pleasure to play this instrument. Mason and Hamlin's are pianos that have a bigger sound than you would believe from the size. It's really but the only 7-foot piano that has a concert grand type bass, and there's a reason for that. The wide tail allows for a bigger soundboard area than in other pianos this size. It's also got a robust design. These pianos last longer than regular pianos. Did you know that a Mason and Hamlin 7-foot piano like this weighs more than a 9-foot concert grand Steinway D? Amazing, huh? Let's end with a little bit of Mozart so you can hear the clarity of the tone and hear the precision of the action with the beginning of his K332 F major sonata. A superb action, a beautiful piano with classic looks as well. The Model BB at 7 feet belies its size. It sounds like a full 9-foot concert grand. And when you have one like this, not so old, from 1979, all original with barely any play on it, it is such a pleasure. Our technicians brought it to a concert level of performance. The fat, rich sound of a Mason Hammond BB, if you've never heard it before, you're in for a real treat. Let's start with some Mozart to show that it can play beautifully with a lighter style, the famous first movement of the C major K545 sonata. the action is really dialed in, even from top to bottom, not too heavy, rich, rewarding sound. As you'll hear, I'm going to play just a little middle section of the famous second movement of Beethoven's Pathetique Sonata. Notice the tonal control possible on this instrument. The finish on the piano is so nice too. It's a semi-gloss, it's a lacquer finish, good shape, everything is fresh. You can tell so much from the piano. If only pianos could talk, I've often said, because imagine the stories they could tell the people who have played them. But nothing hides in a piano. You can tell where a piano's lived. You know, I've seen 10-year-old pianos with the strings completely rusted out in beach pianos. It's obvious this piano was in a gentle environment and was not played very much, well cared for. So let's have a final selection for a different period style, just the first movement of Debussy's Children's Corner Suite, Dr. Gratis ad Parnassum. And that big, powerful bass, the beautiful colors possible on this piano, an absolutely magnificent Steinway art case. The Model A at 6 foot 2 inches provides such a rich sound, and this piano in particular, wait till you hear the quality of the sound. Did you know that even brand new Steinways of the same model each have their own individual voice? And some of them just are amazing. And this is an example of a piano that we took great care in restoring to its original glory. Originally made in 1903, we just rebuilt it and we did the works. And I'll tell you about what we did. First, I'm just going to start with a short piece that's fun, the musette by Johann Sebastian Bach. Many of you students have studied this piece. It is so great to be a pianist, and even on the more elementary levels of study, you have masterworks of Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Schumann, on and on. You know, we're one of the only instrumentalists who have a wealth of great music, starting from relatively simple music to play. Not that this is simple, but it's certainly simpler than the Goldberg variations, for example, or some of the other masterworks of Bach. So we did complete rebuilding, of course, pin block, strings, case refinished, new soundboard, Baldock soundboard. That's why the tone is so rich and sustained, the power of the sound. And we used the correct German components for the action. Sometimes people mistakenly think that all Steinway parts are going to work perfectly in a piano that's 120 years old. Not so. The specifications change, and we make sure that we use the best possible parts to get this kind of performance. So let's have some more music with some Schumann. You know, I realized that I haven't performed Papillon of Schumann since, oh my gosh, 1981. And I just whipped out the score and I remember it amazingly. So I'm going to play the first three movements for you. This particular Steinway Model A has such a rich tenor range and a singing top, round, warm bass. It's got it all. The action weight is just what you want, not too heavy, but very responsive with rapid repetition. And what a work of art to behold. So I'm going to play for you now something that shows the expressive potential of this instrument, when everything is dialed in and regulated and voiced, it's possible to get all the tonal shadings you can imagine. Listen to the singing tone all the way to the top register, the mark of a great piano. Oh, Chopin, the beginning of the Nocturne in F sharp major. You know, aside from the rich singing tone, the action is all rebuilt, including the back action, the front action, all the parts, and you get such a great performance out of an instrument that can last generations with proper care. Steinway Model D Concert Grand, just restored, plays like a dream. You've got to hear several period styles on this piano. And I've got an interesting story for you. In the music conservatories I studied at, there were almost always two different Steinway concert grands on stage. And it's interesting, the choice that most people made. I'm going to tell you all about that in just a minute. First, let's have some music. Starting with Mozart. This is the beginning of his sonata in C minor, K457. Interesting thing about Mozart, he wrote very few pieces in the minor key, but when he did, watch out, the fireworks. Some people liken it to Beethoven because of the passion the minor key evoked under Mozart's hand. You could be fooled and think it's Beethoven. As a matter of fact, I have a video, can you hear the difference between Mozart and Beethoven, where I play the beginning of this sonata and then another sonata of Beethoven, an early sonata that's also in C minor. And you read the comments. I'll put that in the description for you. You might get a kick out of that. So, what is it in music conservatories where they have two Steinway concert grands and most of the students choose one of them? Well, it's usually a newer Steinway and then a vintage Steinway that's been restored. And the compelling sound of these older Steinways, when they're restored impeccably like this one, where the new action with Steinway parts, Renner repetitions. Steinway owns Renner, and for years, the Hamburg Steinways have always had Renner parts. And the Mapes strings, the same one that Steinway uses, the soundboard's refinished, the case has been refreshed. It's just glorious, and these instruments, there's something magical about the tone, isn't there? Listen to some more music so you can judge for yourself. I'm going to play a couple of movements from Schumann's Carnival Cyriana and a dedication to Chopin, and that's the second movement you're going to hear. And listen how it sounds so much like Chopin. Such gorgeous music. You know, it's a funny thing what it takes to get a piano to play on this level. Of course, the restoration's a big deal. But you know what? It's the meticulous work after all the rebuilding is done where the real artistry comes in. My piano technician thought he was going to have this done over a week ago, and yet he kept finding more he could do to get it dialed in. And then finally, last night, it all came together. And I sat down here this morning, and I was ready to record, and there were like two notes that, with the soft pedal engaged, were not exactly like surrounding notes. And I was so disappointed because I thought I could make adjustments in the playing, but I really wanted it to be perfect. And then you would not believe it, at that exact moment, my piano technician walked in the door. I said, "I can't believe you're here." I showed him those two notes. He pulled the action. He did some fine voicing for the unicorda pedal. It takes such work to get a piano where every note responds uniformly and the tone is the same from note to note in all registers. And boy, this piano is really dialed in. Speaking of all registers, let's hear some big opening chords to the Tchaikovsky B-flat minor piano concerto. Boy, the tone goes on forever, doesn't it? The sound of a great piano. But the way I test pianos for a recital is by playing a slow piece with a melody in the upper register to hear the fluidity, the singing tone, and yes, the evenness from note to note that can be achieved. So I'm going to play the beginning of Chopin's B-flat minor nocturne for you. I'm sure going to enjoy this piano while it's in my hands. The last Steinway concert grand we had ended up the street in Trelon, which is a jazz venue bringing in world-class jazz artists, and everybody who comes in raves about that piano. If I get this one long enough, I may record some music on it for you. Anyway, I'm interested in your opinion of this Steinway Model D concert grand, vintage piano from 1916, restored, amazing condition, and a joy to play. A Steinway from 1896. Look at this magnificence. At 54 inches tall, the sound of this piano is rich and full and with a warmth that you expect out of a great Steinway. I'll tell you more about the restoration that's been performed on this piano, but first, some Scarlatti for you. This is his D minor from many hundreds of sonatas he wrote, the D minor sonata of Scarlatti. You know, an action has to be really well regulated in order to be able to negotiate trills. Fortunately, this has new hammers, shanks, knuckles, damper felts, back checks, a lot of new action parts, yet the real original ivory keys from 19th century elephants, long since gone, but the ivories are preserved on this piano. And the finish, it's got new strings, so the piano really plays nicely, doesn't it? Let's hear another side of it, just a middle section of Chopin's B-flat minor scherzo. And listen to that bass. You just don't get a bass out of most upright pianos, do you? But with the extra length of the strings, you get that nice, warm, round, full sound, don't you? Okay, I'm going to close now. Just a little bit of Mozart. This is going to be the beginning of his second movement of his F major sonata K332. Gorgeous lyrical playing here. You know, it's like playing a piece of music history, isn't it? To see an instrument like this, as time goes on, there'll be fewer and fewer examples of what Steinway was building in the 19th century. It's really fascinating, isn't it? Presenting a beautiful Steinway Model L. You know, we have so many Steinways, and you know, some of our Steinways take over a year to rebuild, meticulously crafting all the action parts, restringing, fashioning new pin blocks. There's an amazing amount of work. That's why when we get a piano like this from 1981, all original, barely played, it is such a pleasure. Just do some fine regulation and voicing, tuning, cleanup, and you've got a piano that's almost like new. I'm going to play a couple of selections so you can hear the nice, warm, round tone of this piano. I'm going to start off playing for you the beginning of the Chopin Third Ballade, the A-flat Ballade. Listen to the melody and the sustained tone. You know, this piano feels like it isn't even fully broken in yet. Everything is really precise. And I'm going to play for you a movement of Beethoven that requires really fine tonal control. This is the second movement of his C minor sonata, opus 10, number 1, the beginning part of that gorgeous melody. Beautiful furniture as well. Piano was kept in just wonderful condition. Didn't require the major work that we sometimes have to do. Tremendous value. These pianos are, I believe, over $100,000 new now to get a 5'10" and a half. Great size. It's a grand piano, not a baby grand, but still not a huge instrument. It'll fit in most homes, and you can enjoy a Steinway for yourself. You know, we have many grand pianos that we rebuild, and it takes 6 months to a year to meticulously craft all the new parts, refinish the cabinet. It's an arduous task that's often worthwhile with the right pianos. But when we get a piano like this, it's such a pleasure. Not that old and barely played. Clean up, regulate, voicing, string work, lubrication, all the adjustments, the fine pedal adjustments. But all the parts are original Steinway parts, so it makes it so much easier, and you get a great performance and the benefit of stability. I've got 3 period styles to play for you, starting out with some Bach. This is the second movement of his Toccata in E minor. Nice warm tone, even action, pleasure to play. And look at this piano, it really looks beautiful, doesn't it? Let's hear what it sounds like now with something very familiar to all of you, the first movement of the Beethoven Moonlight Sonata. I'm going to play a condensed version of it so you get the idea of the tonal control possible on a beautifully regulated Steinway. To be able to control the pianissimo of the melody and to have the triplets in the right hand quieter than the melody is a very difficult thing to achieve unless a piano is regulated really finely. So finally, we're going to open up with a little Debussy, the beginning of Gollywog's Cakewalk. I remember when I first studied this piece, I was a teenager. I was 13 years old when I learned the whole suite, and I could not reach the octave at the end, just barely. So my father had me play just the top note and the bottom note, leave out the octave, and play it like that, because I couldn't get any power out after this whole suite of 15 minutes of music. To end with an anemic octave was just too much, and that saved the day. Fortunately, my hands might not be that big, but I've got a good, solid octave. A Steinway Model M At 5'7" one of the most popular of all Steinway models. Fits almost anywhere and provides a rich, rewarding sound with a beautiful scale design. Better than that, this piano from 1955 is a wonderful era of Steinway, all original with these beautiful ivory keys, beautiful satin mahogany case. And wait till you hear the sound of this piano. The bass is so richly rewarding. For a piano of its size, it's surprising for a Steinway Model M. We're going to have three selections for you, starting with the Opus 14 No. 2 Beethoven Sonata in G major, and I'm just going to play the exposition of the first movement for you. Everything regulated so nicely. It's a pleasure to play this piano. Well, let's explore other sides of the tone of this instrument with a little bit of Chopin, the lyrical A-flat waltz. I'll play the whole thing, but without the repeat, so you get a little flavor of all the sections. such a warm, rich sound and lovely sustained. You know, even brand new Model M Steinways, one to the next, not all of them have that kind of singing quality. Let's have a little bit more Chopin. I'm just going to end with the middle section of the scherzo in B flat minor, the second scherzo. Wow, you ever heard a bass like that out of a Steinway M? What a special piano. Golden Age Steinway Model M grand piano. What a delight to play this beautifully restored instrument. It's been restrung, it's got new hammer shanks, damper felt, the case has been refinished, and it plays like a dream. It's got a particularly warm sound. If that's the sort of sound you like, you're going to love this piano. I'm going to play 3 selections for you, different period styles, different composers, so you get a nice feeling for what this piano offers you. We're going to start off with the beginning of the first movement of Mozart's Sonata in A major, the K331. That's the one that has the famous alla turca last movement, but this is the beginning of the first movement. It's a theme and variations, and this is the gorgeous theme. There's a precision to the action and the tone that is such a delight, and the warmth of sound. Let's listen with a little bit more energy in this beginning of the Opus 14, number 2, Beethoven Sonata in G major. Many people regard this era as being the golden years of Steinway, when the quality was so magnificent. And when you find one where the soundboard is in good condition and you can use the original soundboard, it is such a pleasure to get a taste of what the great American pianos are like at this age. So let's close now with a little bit of Chopin, just an intersection of his A-flat ballade. Yamaha C7. This may be the best Yamaha C7 I have ever played. I played a lot of these pianos. These are a staple in recording studios and recital halls around the world and in studios, and there's a reason for it. It's a robust sound at 7 feet and 6 inches. The earlier ones were a little bit shorter. The scale design of this, though, is not to be believed. Wait till you hear some music. I'm going to start on the subtler side with a little bit of Mozart to show you the clarity that Yamaha is famous for in just the beginning of the third movement of his C major Sonata K330. Now, I bet you're just dying to hear what the bass is on this piano. It is such a monstrously large bass. I'm going to play just a little intersection of Liszt Sonata in B minor. What a dynamic range. It's almost like the sound is supercharged, isn't it? You can get so much out of it. And now to return to the subtle, just Debussy's Children's Corner Suite, The Little Shepherd, a favorite of mine. The regulation and the voicing is on such a high level, you can get exactly what you want out of this piano with every nuance of touch. A 1990 Young Chang Baby Grand at a time that Young Chang was the largest piano manufacturer in the world. Listen to the sound of this piano, starting with some Bach, the beginning of the Fifth French Suite in G major. You know, when a young Chang is well regulated and voiced, it's a very satisfying playing experience. Now, this piano was actually sat in a home with very gentle use, so the refinement we did on it, it brings it to a level maybe it's never had before. Now let's hear some more music. This time I'm going to play the second movement of Haydn's Sonata in F major, the first section. It's a beautiful slow movement in F minor. You know, Young Chang started in the 1950s as a producer of pianos for Yamaha. And then later they produced pianos for Steinway. And anyway, it's got duplex scaling for a very enhanced tone in the treble. I'm going to play the beginning of the Chopin G minor Ballade to really put it through its paces for you. Beautiful Korean-made piano. Very few Young Changs are made today compared to the years ago because of all the Chinese companies today. But Young Chang is on a higher level than most Chinese companies. What do you think about this piano? G185. This is a 6-foot, 1-inch grand piano. Interestingly, there was a time in my life when my personal piano was a 6'1" Young Chang, almost exactly like this from the same era. At a time when Young Chang was the #1 piano builder in the world. This piano has barely been played. The furniture is beautiful. If somebody told me this was a 6-month-old piano, I would believe them. So let's have some music. I'm going to start off with a little bit of Haydn. This is the beginning of his F major sonata. action is fresh and young, just like a new piano. And a very clear sound, yet we have it voiced on the warm side, so you get a round tone. So, to get a sense of the lyricism of this piano, I'm going to play just the first movement of Schumann's Kinderscenen, scenes from childhood of strange lands or foreign lands and people. So refined. It's a pleasure to play. So let's hear what it sounds like with a little bit of Liszt. I'm going to play the beginning of his monumental sonata in B minor, just the first part, just to get some fireworks going here. A beautiful European Petrof, studio upright piano, Renner and Abel action. This piano from 2009, barely played. Our technicians did substantial regulation and voicing to bring this to such a high level of performance. And you know, this may look like an Asian production piano, but the hand-built Petrofs are on another level for the touch, the expressiveness, and wait till you hear the tone. I'm going to start off with Beethoven. This is the Opus 49, number 2 G major sonata, the second movement. Oh, that Renner action. What a feel. What a sound. Let's hear how it sings with some Chopin, the E minor nocturne, which is actually published after Chopin's death. Such a clear, pure sound. They've been making pianos since the 1800s, and they are now among the very largest manufacturers of pianos in Europe, but nowhere to the scale of the Asian companies. These are hand-built pianos. So let's end with one last little piece for you. This is just the first movement of Scenes from Childhood, the Kinderscenen of Robert Schumann, of Strange Lands and People. That fine control you can get with a beautiful German action. Presenting a Kawai baby grand, closer to a parlor grand at 5'5", offers a rich, warm tone Kawai is famous for. From the early 70s, really well cared for piano with minimal play. Our technicians have gone through, and wait till you hear it. Let's start with a little bit of Bach. This is the Gavotte from his 5th French Suite. very precise action. You know, my sister bought a Kawai at about the same time this piano was made, and she still has that piano today, and it's going strong. It was really a wonderful period for Kawai. Made in Japan, naturally. So let's hear some other colors of sound, the beginning of the second movement of the Pathetique Sonata of Beethoven. Isn't that a nice warm tone that you don't typically get out of Asian pianos? And now, of course, I've got to play something to show what it sounds like when you really put some energy into it. So I'm going to just play just before the end of the A-flat Ballade of Chopin. Not a harsh sound out of this piano. Action is so even. The furniture is beautiful. And it has the original matching bench. And I'm interested in your opinion of this piano as always. Here at livingpianos.com, your online piano store. Again, I'm Robert Estrin. Thanks all of you for joining me and the support for this channel. It means the world to me. See you next time.